Newspaper. This is Out and About Today.
Hello, I'm Chuck Long and welcome to Out and About Today. Busy show tonight as Brent takes a look at what's happening at Out Central and Pam checks out the Nashville Grizzlies' upcoming season. But first, it's the day's hot topics on Buzz About, and we're talking Ellen Page, Jennifer Nettles, the new film Date and Switch, and a preview of the March edition of Out and About Nashville. Joining me, co-host Brent Meredith and Pam Wheeler. Great to see you guys.
Great to see you, Chuck.
So much going on.
A lot.
So much to talk about. First off, did you guys, what was your impression when you heard that Ellen Page had come out at one of these HRC
Well,
benefits?
you know, I asked you all beforehand, had you ever thought about Ellen Page being gay? And of course I don't know her. I didn't know if she was gay, but it's one of those actresses that I've thought, like she was in that roller derby movie, Whip It.
Whip It, yeah.
Like you think, I could picture her being gay, maybe.
Well, what made you think that, though? What made you think I could picture
wishful
her?
thinking. I don't know what it was, but so of course I was surprised, and it's just great. You just love someone that's out in the. We talk about people coming out. We talk about the sports people, and same thing with actresses and actors.
Of course.
it's awesome.
It was everywhere, all over social media. I saw it posted, reposted, and whatnot. It was kind of a surprise for me, I'll admit. I guess maybe because I just hadn't even thought about her in any capacity that way.
Well, and to me it's a surprise. Here we go. But it's a surprise when you consider this is an actress at the top of her game.
Sure.
She's an Oscar-nominated actress for Juno. She's coming out in X-Men Days of Future Past this summer. This is major. And it's a very touching speech that she made. We want you guys to take a look at it. Here's a little bit of it right now.
I suffered for years because I was scared to be out. My spirit suffered, my mental health suffered, and my relationship suffered. And I'm standing here today with all of you on the other side of that pain. And I am young, yes. But what I have learned is that love, the beauty of it, the joy of it, and yes, even the pain of it, is the most incredible gift to give and to receive as a human being.
Just pretty amazing.
Well, yeah, and you say she's at the top of her game, and what a great thing, or maybe perhaps how surprising. But the other side of that, as we all know, and as she said, when you're in the closet, everything around you suffers. Sure, you can look, you can get the parts, and you can play it, and she did. But I was in a closeted relationship for 5 years. It wasn't healthy. It's not good. Things get affected, and it's so wonderful that now we're at a place where, that took strength. You can see how emotional she was. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it really is.
Very moving.
Now, what's going to be interesting, though, is on the flip side, is she's coming out, major movie this summer. If it continues, to me, if Hollywood, the community continues to support it. Hollywood's liberal, but when you look at the movie industry, sometimes they shy away, like, all she can do is a gay role. All she can do is a tough role, or something like that.
Yeah, and as we've seen, they're liberal, but they have to distribute the movie. People have to go see it.
Right,
Theaters have
America.
to carry it. So it'd be an interesting case study to see what happens.
Yeah.
And Hollywood's liberal, but people don't feel comfortable coming out.
Right.
We know there's a ton of gay people that aren't out. So it's the double-edged sword.
Double standard.
Yeah,
It
double
really
standard.
is. It really is. Now, speaking of Hollywood, though, they are. Of course, I always say they could use more, but I was just excited to see another kind of rom-com, and this rom-com happens to be two guys who are best friends, and they make a pact of who is going to lose their virginity before prom. The only thing
We've all made those.
Yeah, exactly. One of them, though, happens to be gay, which is a big surprise. So the movie is called Date and Switch. Let's take a look at it, and we'll talk about it on the flip side.
You like that place? You like that scene? You're gonna call dibs on her even after you've broken up with her and you're not into persons with her sexual organs?
Dude, how are you a gay guy?
I don't know, I just am.
After Maddie and I broke up, we hooked up one more time.
How can that happen?
You're not the only one in the world with confused feelings, Michael.
Why do you have to do gay stuff with the who hit my car?
What are you doing here with my ex-girlfriend? That's a little bit weird.
Hi.
Okay, you might recognize her. That's Dakota Johnson, who is in 50 Shades of Grey coming up. She's in that movie. I think that's one of the reasons that this is starting to get some attention.
Well, a couple things that come to my head is, first, I've never heard of rom-com, okay? I don't even know what that is.
Romantic comedy?
Oh my
Not
gosh.
rom-com.
Rom-com.
I've never heard of it,
Oh,
okay?
geez.
But then the other thing, watching that little clip, it gives me this teenage angst, actually, of trying to figure things out, navigate through. I don't know if I'm watching it. I'll tell you. Yeah.
You don't want to feel those
I need
feelings
to see,
anymore.
you know, corns and rainbows, and I don't need anything like that.
Well, do you know who else? There's a great cast though in it. Megan Mullally, of course, from Will and Grace,
Right,
she's in
yeah.
it. Sarah Hyland from Modern Family. Gary Cole's in it. So it's a really good cast.
Why didn't you show them?
Well, actually, they weren't in very many of the clips.
Gotcha.
And we also wanted to show, of course, Dakota Johnson being the big name coming up in 50 Shades of Grey. So it's nice that she's in that. Are you surprised, though, there aren't more movies coming out of Hollywood that have LGBT themes?
It's all a business, Chuck.
gosh,
you know
yeah,
that.
I mean-
It's what's going to sell, right?
Yeah, well, I think so, but I always think that there are going to be more. Like when we had Brokeback Mountain,
Yeah.
I thought there would be more.
I see.
And then it took a
Yeah.
while for movies to come out after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a valid point. There does seem to be a lot of sort of I hate to call them B movies, but not more mainstream movies. They seem to be producing a lot more of those, but when is that going to click over and be sort of
The major-
more major blockbusters, if
Right.
you will, the ones, distributed in theaters?
Like Philomena, though, of
Yeah.
course, it had LGBT theme to it, you know,
Yeah.
him being gay, her son, that sort of thing. But I just think we need more stories like that that tell the full spectrum.
Well, and this, of course, too, was nice when you watch the preview about the guy that's actually gay is normal looking, if you will, and I hate to use that term.
I did have that thought, too.
But he wasn't, the typical sort of maybe stereotyped, gay male character in that type of role, which is a nice change of pace.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about another community that's been a little slow in supporting, or at least vocally supporting the LGBT community, and that would be the country music community. Thankfully, though, Jennifer Nettles just did a nice interview with Pride Source, and she talked about supporting the gay community, but we need to do it faster, and we just need to stand up more. Were you surprised that she came out and said that when, again, here she is at the top of her country game?
Not so much surprised as just sort of proud of her for doing it in a sense. I mean, like you said, the country music industry sort of lags a little bit, much like Hollywood, much like many other things. So, I mean, it takes a lot of courage to stand up and do that. But of course, as you said, she's got probably a great deal of fans. I think you mentioned that she had a fan base in Atlanta. A
gay
large
fan base,
fan base in Atlanta, which of course Atlanta's quite large, so that fan base could be rather large. So I mean, I think it takes courage on her part too.
Of course, and we're seeing that the backlash doesn't happen. Who was the artist we talked about a year ago? Come on, help me out.
Casey Musgraves?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And,
Except the single "Follow Your Arrow" didn't do well. You know, I mean, that was the big single as far as coming out and saying, if you want to like girls that kiss girls, that's fine. But it didn't do well on radio. Radio's only given her one top 10 hit, and it was number 10. She's won Grammy. She's won all kind of awards.
But is that manipulation?
Accolades.
Is that the radio industry manipulating that?
I think it's the radio industry afraid of it.
Yeah.
I do.
Because she sang that song at the big award
The
show.
Grammys.
That was
It was
right.
huge.
Yeah.
The
Grammys. I mean, I've heard of that.
Rom-com and Grammys?
Rom-com.
Okay, now before we run out of time, I want to make sure that we talk about the upcoming Out and About Nashville, because the cover is Meet the Heroes and Villains of the Tennessee State Legislature. Right there, pick it up on your newsstands now. It's interesting, too, because we talk about the legislature and things like that. The case, and this will be in that issue as well, Kentucky's same-sex marriage decision may help Tennessee case. What do you guys think about that? Of course, that's the one where Kentucky ruling forcing the state to recognize same-sex marriages performed in other states could have an impact in Tennessee.
Well, of course.
Do you think it will?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it has to have an impact.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't be autonomous and not follow the line eventually. It's just
Right.
interesting that everybody around us is beating us.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to look at the issue and make sure I recognize all the heroes, because we forget. We remember all of the villains' names.
Right.
Stacey Canfield. Like, I just know certain people, but got to remember our friends and support them.
Great point. Absolutely. All right, well, don't go away. When we return, Brent will get an update on Out Central. We'll be right back.